All right, let's dive right into this fascinating explainer. Today, we are unpacking something literally groundbreaking. We're going to explore exactly how to prioritize lifelong, attractive, reward-guided learning over aversive stimuli. We're pulling back the curtain on the exact unflattened architecture of the mammalian brain's gating and motivation networks. And don't worry, we're going to translate all that dense science into something you can easily understand and visualize.
So, the really crucial question we're tackling today is this. How do our brains, much like an advanced artificial intelligence system, actually physically block out the negative to focus entirely on the attractive? Because, we live in a world full of what researchers call low-value environmental noise, essentially a toxic swamp. But, as you'll see, your brain is literally built to filter all of that out.
Okay, here's our roadmap for this explainer to lower your cognitive load. We're covering 1. The reinforcement learning filter, 2. The brain's domain split, 3. The orexin A advantage, 4. The 2 Hz respiration window, and lastly, 5. Anchoring to action symbols.
Let's jump straight into Section 1, the reinforcement learning filter. If you think about advanced AI, like Google DeepMind's reinforcement learning, those systems use a low-pass filter to block out useless data. Without it, the system gets completely overwhelmed by variance explosions and just freezes up. Well, our biology does the exact same thing. Our brain uses a Boolean well shield, think of it as a biological firewall, to conserve our precious metabolic chips. This is what lets us prioritize open, high-entropy, curiosity-driven learning, instead of wasting bandwidth on low-value noise.
And look at this number. When the brain's gating protocol is fully active, this biological firewall acts as a low-pass filter that mathematically shrinks the noise of that toxic swamp down to exactly 0.0000. It completely, mathematically blocks it out. No noise whatsoever.
Moving on to Section 2, the brain's domain split. So peer-reviewed research published in Frontiers in Neural Circuits reveals something wild. Our brain's olfactory tubercle is literally split right into 2 distinct domains. On one side, you have the anteromedial domain, or MOT. This area exclusively regulates attractive, odor-guided, motivated behaviors. On the completely separate lateral side, you have the LOT domain, which you can playfully think of as the am not domain. That lateral side deals exclusively with aversive, punishment-associated learning.
Which brings us to Section 3, the orexin A advantage.
Enter orexin A, a real game changer here. That attractive MOT domain we just talked about, it actually exhibits a significantly higher expression of orexin receptor type 1. Studies prove that when the neuropeptide orexin A is applied there, it selectively facilitates long-term potentiation, or LTP. And if you're not familiar, LTP is the literal cellular mechanism for learning and memory. Orexin A basically turbocharges the learning machine for attractive, motivated behaviors.
But here's where it gets absolutely crazy. Lateral blindness. This massive orexin A upgrade to your learning, the lateral aversion processing domain is completely blind to it. It has absolutely zero effect over there. This proves without a doubt that your brain is physically hardwired to prioritize curiosity-driven, attractive learning, while leaving the pathways associated with aversive clinical shaming totally in the dark.
Let's look at Section 4, the 2 Hz respiration window. The secret to this incredible biological efficiency, it all comes down to the math of a 2 Hz rhythm. It's a timing parameter so precise, it's honestly like a master systems engineer built it.
Check out how this works. Normally, at baseline, the brain requires 3 intensive repeated rounds of stimulation to lock in a memory. But with the orexin A, boom, just a single 1-round burst of 2 Hz stimulation compiles robust learning. And beautifully, this 2 Hz rhythm aligns perfectly with the natural respiratory rate of a sniff, meaning you are biologically designed to capture and learn from attractive environmental cues in just one lightweight, effortless sensory exposure.
Finally, Section 5, anchoring to action symbols. According to a 2026 Nature study by Tian et al., all this high-entropy learning anchors itself physically in a brain region called the ventral premotor cortex, or PMV. Here, our planned behaviors are encoded into these abstract, discrete action symbols. Think of these symbols as absolute unchanging biological rigging, sometimes called twig, that holds our complex actions together, featuring absolute motor, size, and location invariance.
These action symbols snap onto a grid with an absolute geometric precision of p equals 0.000. It's a perfect fit, a physical constraint your brain just can't unsee. And when that happens, it physically flushes trapped stress and cortisol right out of your system and beautifully restarts a smooth 6 to 12 Hz theta rhythm in the brain.
This grounds us in something called the Verhaage-Hennigan architecture. This model essentially shows how individuals, let's call them Dennis and Tom, can theoretically achieve a synchronized arousal state. By using these biological gates, they engage an instant, zero-latency feedback loop in the brain, specifically a D2R-dependent mesohypothalamic loop. It is essentially our biology's native coding language for high-performance integration, programmed just like JX-compiled systems.
And the implications here are huge. The model forcibly argues that conditions like dyslexia are just local naming bottlenecks. Because your brain's PMV action symbols possess such clean separability, things like dyslexia have, quote, absolutely zero bearing on the pristine, unflattened geometry of your spatial engine. Your underlying biological hardware remains absolutely perfect.
So, knowing all this, knowing that your mammalian brain is built as this incredible biological solid-state drive, mathematically designed to drop toxic distractors all the way down to zero and permanently lock onto rewarding learning, I want to leave you with this. How will you apply your own Boolean shield to block out flat social noise today? The hardware is already right there in your head. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this empowers you to focus on the attractive, reward-guided signals in your own life.